Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is Israel. One of the points I want to make is Israel will never, ever lose another battle. Israel doesn't need America. America needs Israel. I'm going to make several very important points today. Okay, start with Zechariah 12:3. Remember this location. Zechariah 12:3. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone. Okay, so here we have a little small country, and yet all of the world follows Israel and the events of Israel. Why? Because it's God's people. And God says, I'm going to make Jerusalem a burdensome stone, and all that burden themselves with it, all that turn against Israel, he's going to cut them into pieces at Armageddon. Though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. What's that saying? It's saying that Israel will never, once they're back in their land, 1948, they will never, ever, ever be uprooted again. That means they will never lose another battle ever again. They will never be kicked out of their land again. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people, and all that burden themselves with it, all that turn against Israel, shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. Joel 3:2. I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. The word Jehoshaphat means judgment. This is talking about Armageddon. I will plead with them there for my people. In other words, I'll try to talk them out of attacking Israel, but of course they won't. They will attack. And for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So will Israel give the Palestinians a state? Yep. And is America going to force them to do it? Apparently so, because it says the nations parted my land. It didn't say Israel parted my land. It says the nations parted my land. Now, this is another. You got to remember this. Genesis 12:3. I will bless them that bless thee, and I will curse them that curse thee. We never, ever, ever go against Israel. Yes, they do things wrong. And yes, some of the people that are not Jews, that call themselves Jews but do lie, but are the synagogue of Satan, give them a bad reputation. But we never, ever, ever turn against Israel. Genesis 15:18. Out of thy seed have I given this land from the great river of Egypt to the great river of Euphrates. Meaning, the area in the yellow, that's Israel. Now, right now, this little land right here, this is Israel. But Israel is going to get back all of their land. I think it's before the millennium, which means probably in the next few years. Let's go on. Okay, so this is brand new. UN General Assembly backs Palestinian bid for membership. Now, we talked about this. The UN General Assembly is in favor of giving the Palestinians a state. This article tells that they have voted, and by like a 93 to almost nothing vote, they voted to give the Palestinians a state. But let me show you the part that saved it right here. A U.S. veto. There's 15 members that are of the Security Council. Any one of those members, and it's been a long time since I studied this, so I'm not an expert at it, but any one of those members that vetoes it and it does not go through. And America is one of, seemed to me like I remember it was like we're one of three that are permanent. I'm having to remember out of high school here studying this, but I think we're one of three of the states that are permanent members. And anyway, we vetoed it. Now, the problem is, they're constantly bringing this up for vote. This is not the first vote. Probably won't be the last vote either. And all it takes is one time for it to vote and U.S. not veto it, and all of a sudden, you got a Palestinian state. So is that going to be the thing that gets us a New Madrid earthquake? Read all this article. Now let's go to the next one. Now, this has been in the news. Okay, we heard about this. U.S. pauses weapons shipments to Israel. Waives weapon purchase and sanctions on Qatar, Lebanon, and Iraq. Oh, we didn't hear that part. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Specifically, we, the U.S., paused one shipment of weapons consisting of, we talked about this, 1,800 2,000-pound bombs, 1,700 500-pound bombs, but we weren't told that we also lifted sanctions against the Arab countries. This is the big part. The Biden regime also granted waivers from economic sanctions to Qatar, Iraq, and Lebanon so they can resume buying weapons. Okay, America is fighting against Israel right now, specifically Biden and his buddies. Biden are the people holding up his arms. They can resume buying weapons until April of next year, 2025. The Biden regime cut off all arms shipments to Israel. It has granted permission for arms sales to Qatar, Hamas ally, and Lebanon Hezbollah ally, and to Iraq. So it's almost as if they want a bloodbath taking place over in the Middle East. It's almost if they want to destroy Israel. Another article, Trump. Biden will bring a 1929 number to economy. Now, what's he saying? Former President Donald Trump warned Friday that electing President Joe Biden to a second term in office would result in bringing back the Great Depression era numbers to the United States. All I say is, they better hope I win because you're going to have a 1929 number if I don't win, Trump said. And my guess is that it might even happen before the election. If I weren't leading in all the polls, Trump says, the stock market would be, I think, 25 to 30% down from where it was right now. Polls show that Americans have little faith in Biden's handling of the nation's economy. In a Gallup poll released earlier this week, only 38% of the adults said that they have a great deal or a fair amount of confidence in Biden to recommend or carry out the right steps for the economy, compared to 46% who said they have faith in Trump on economic matters. How's that fit together? Well, I will bless them that bless you, and I will curse them that curse you. So if we hurt Israel, God is going to hurt us. If we split Israel, God is going to split America. Many Israelis feel betrayed following Biden's threat to withhold arms to defeat Hamas in Rafah. Well, why shouldn't they? After President Biden compared Hamas to the Nazis in a Holocaust Remembrance Day speech on Tuesday, his Israeli critics argued he is now backpedaling from his ironclad commitment to the Jewish state by delaying deliveries of vital precious weapons to Jerusalem. Well, it's like the old saying says, I can't hear what you're saying for all the things I see you are doing. So what he says with his mouth and what he does with his pen are two different things. The IDF are closing in on the last major bastion of Hamas terror in the city of Rafah in Gaza. Yet Biden announced on Thursday that, quote, I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they have not gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities that deal with that problem. Now, there's been other articles that Netanyahu says, we're going into Rafah and we're going to kill all of the Hamas, whether U.S. backs us or not. Okay, remember Chris Reed was told, as goes Israel, so goes America. So if Israel can't kill its terrorists, that means America can't kill its terrorists. If Israel doesn't have the weapons to defend itself, that means America won't have the weapons to defend itself. As Israel goes, so goes America. You know, I have to say, I think Trump's right. I think that we probably have the worst president, at least in my lifetime, probably the worst president in the history of the United States, and I don't think he is running it. I don't think he has mental capacity to run it. I don't know who is running it. A good bet would be Obama. I don't know who's running it, but it's at the end of the day, it's the devil. All right, now, I love this. It's about a 7.5-minute rant on Hannity the other night, and I loved it so much I downloaded it. I even got the text on it, and I'm going to read a little bit of it. So Mark Levin got on Hannity, and he ranted. And I'm not going to say the phrase, but you can read what he said. And I'm just going to give you a couple of high points here. So Mark Levin was talking directly to Biden. He said, I'm speaking directly to Biden here. He says, you spew the lies of the Hamas terrorists against the Jews and unleash anti-Semitism in this country and around the world like we've never seen before. True. You, Biden, don't like their prime minister, that they need to remove him and replace him. It's not our place to say. You tell the Israelis that they cannot defeat Hamas, which has said, proven again and again, that they want to wipe out the Jewish population in Israel. When it says from the river to the seas, it means to totally annihilate Israel and all Jews. You are to be funding Iran, Hamas, and the Houthis and Hezbollah, arming them with our money from oil and with money from oil sales. And what's he talking about? Do you remember during the lifetime or the presidency of Obama, there was a plane load of money sent over to Iran? And then since then, Biden has also paid them, what was that, $2 billion or some crazy number for, 5 terrorists to be released? To them, I think there was a couple of Americans released. But basically, it was a big scam to give a whole bunch of money to Iran. What did they do with it? Did they feed the Iranians? Did they build nice buildings? No. They have built the war machine that is now attacking America and Israel. So, he's telling the truth. So what the Democrats have done is armed our enemies. Also, what I covered the other day, and I've still got some more to cover on it, what the Democrats are doing is making the bear angry and doing things that is going to make the bear to attack and defeat America in 1 hour. So, back to Mark Levine. You say you haven't provided weapons to Israel. Congress provides weapons to Israel. You're violating the Empowerment Act and the Constitution by withholding it. Your Democrat donors whip up anti-Semitism across this country. These are the guys that are paying the people to go in and riot and cause problems at our colleges. The Jews have survived more than you, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Romans, the Third Reich, and you're a pipsqueak. This is Mark Levin calling the president a pipsqueak. They're going to fight Hamas. They're going to defeat Hamas, whether you and the Blinken and their party and all the rest of the reprobates like it or not. That's what the scriptures say. Israel will never, ever lose another battle. Anybody who attacks it is going to be ground to dust. Joe Biden and Blinken, this is Mark Levin again, funded October 7th. Donald Trump was destroying Iran. He bankrupted Iran. They didn't have arms. They didn't have money. Biden and Blinken come into office and they arm them. They give sustenance to Hamas and Hezbollah. They violate the Taylor Force Act. They're paying the Palestinian Liberation Organization. I heard that and I thought, what's the Taylor Force Act? So I looked it up. So here's what the Taylor Force Act is. Quoting Wikipedia, the Taylor Force Act is an act of the U.S. Congress to stop American economic aid to the Palestinian Authority until the PA ceases paying stipends. What's a stipend? I'm going to show you. Through the Palestinian Authority Martyrs Fund to individuals who commit acts of terrorism and to the families of deceased terrorists. The act was signed into law, blah, 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 cut to a third of the United States aid payments, and the United States cut more than $200 million direct aid to the PA. In February 2019, the U.S. confirmed it stopped all U.S. aid to Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. That would be under, just before Trump. Trump came in. No, that would be Trump. Okay. In a step linked into new anti-terrorism legislation, the Anti-Terrorism Clarification Act, passed by Congress, signed into law by Trump on 2018, came into force in 2019, and allows Americans to sue U.S. courts. Now, let me go on to the next point. The bill was named in honor of Taylor Force, a native of Lubbock, Texas. He went off to the war. If you skip on down to the yellow part, he was murdered in Israel in 2016 by a Palestinian terrorist. Because the killer died while committing an act of terrorism. So the killer's relatives are paid a monthly pension equal to several times the average monthly Palestinian wage. Are you catching that? So what they do is if you kill someone in a terrorist act, and if you're a Muslim or if you worship Allah or something like that, apparently, it doesn't say it directly, then you get paid. Or I should say your family gets paid a whole lot of money for the rest of their lives. So what are they doing? They're hiring people, in this case, to kill Jews. And rest assured, if it's happening to the Jews on Saturday, as they say, it's going to happen to the Christians on Sunday. It goes on to say, several times the average monthly wage they're getting paid because they committed terrorism. The pension paid the Palestinian Authority Martyrs Fund is part of a Palestinian Authority policy to pay monthly cash stipends, there's the word, stipends to the families of Palestinians killed, injured, or imprisoned for involvement in attacking, assisting in attacking, or planning to attack Israel, or for other types of political inspired violence, including riots, violent demonstrations, and throwing rocks. My guess is that's exactly what is going on at our colleges right now. These people that are going up, causing problems, are getting paid by evil people in high places to do so. What? Oh, yeah. So we pay police to put their life on the line to go out and stop the bad, but bad people are paying the bad people to go in and to do the bad. So both sides are getting paid, and we wonder what's going on. Well, the news is not telling us this. Now, I did see that the mayor, I believe, is in New York, did say that this is going on. All right, now, let me jump to the point here. Genesis 17:7. I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed, and thee and their generations for an everlasting covenant. America does not have an everlasting covenant. It goes on to say, for an everlasting possession. So he says, I'm going to give you the land wherein you're a stranger, the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession. So when he gives the land to Israel, let me back up and show you that. Okay, right here. That's an everlasting possession. All of that land is theirs. Now, they aren't occupying all of it, but remember there's a newspaper headline put out by John Paul Jackson that says, and what other secret weapons does Israel have? So apparently God is going to give Israel a secret weapon, and it may be angels or something like that, to defeat their enemies. They're going to get back their land. Now, let me go to the next point here. Isaiah 66:22. For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain, talking to Israel. America doesn't have a guarantee. Israel does. There will always be an Israel. Instead, here's what happens to our nation. And the angel cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, has become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Skip on down. Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and there shall be found no more at all. America's going away. Israel is going to remain. So he's going to say, America needs Israel. Israel doesn't need America. Israel has God. Israel has an everlasting covenant. In 2021, I started making bread. And long story short is I believe God showed me that wheat is God's famine food, just like it was famine food back in the 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine, days of Pharaoh and Joseph. And I believe that that's what God has planned to feed his people. And you get it by going to josephskitchen.com. 3 steps. First, you want to get a machine package. Second, you want to order 6 ingredients and watch some videos, download the recipes to be able to make the bread. josephskitchen.com. Most of your long-time storage food, emergency food, all of that, typically are talking $9,000, $10,000 to feed one person for a year. Joseph Kitchen can show you how to do it for around $1,000 a person, and your kids will actually eat it, and it's actually good for you. Here's some bread that I made. In my case, I lost weight, lowered my blood pressure, gives me more energy. I eat a morning, slice in the morning, slice in the afternoon. Always a slice before I go play racquetball. Go check it out, josephskitchen.com. And right now, Joseph Kitchen has a summer blowout going on. They're offering red wheat at half price. Basically, buy 1 pail, get 1 pail free. Buy 1 pail, get 1 pail free of red wheat. josephkitchen.com. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians, and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper. And as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. Okay, the very best offer we have ever had at the Prophecy Club is 40 books for a gift of $100. That is How Pre-Trib Won, Tribulation Secrets in Daniel, God's Warnings to America, Miss the Mark, and The Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. I'll explain. As I've said many times in 2017, I memorized the book of Revelation. I got 30 revelations, 2 visions, and an audible voice. God showed me a secret door, the word first fruits, which is found in Leviticus and also Revelation, that links the feasts to the prophecies of Revelation. And perhaps for the first time, Revelation can be understood. One prophetic word said, there's a lock. I put over a word in the book of Revelation. I'm going to open it to you. It will turn many books written on the end time message into obsolete books. That's this book. Secondly, I put together a collection of the very best prophecies from 32 years in Bible prophecy: Dimitri Duduman, Michael Boldale, Leslie Johnson, Henry Groover, Shane Warren, Terry Bennett, Maurice Sklar, Augusto Perez, Doug Metzger, Bree Keaton, and more in God's Warnings to America. Also, how do you talk to people about the mark of the beast, especially if they worship another god? Well, simple way is give them this book. It's a quick read. Takes about 3 hours to read it. But if they'll read 2 or 3 pages, they'll probably read the book. And if they read the book, they will never take the mark of the beast. It explains both the mark of the beast and also the number of the name, and it has these pictures in the book. Finally, How Pre-Trib Won. This book explains the truth about the rapture. It gives 4 foundations for the real truth about the rapture. It also answers 25 pre-trib questions, 1 for $20, each one of these typically, but don't do that. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets. The very best deal is go to prophecyclub.com and get the entire 40-book set for $100. I didn't cover every verse in the book of Daniel, didn't need to. I just covered the verses that has to do with us end-time saints. And it's called Tribulation Secrets in Daniel. 1 for $20, 10 for $30, 20 for $50 at prophecyclub.com.